Hey, welcome folks. Don't usually do a video in the afternoon, but I had such fun with my Boeing 787 flight this morning, even with some challenges, that I thought I would try to recreate another one. Again, the 787 was designed to replace the 767, a wide body aircraft. It's not really designed for domestic service, but if you take it on a 10-hour flight, that can be a really long video stream. So this will be a unrealistic flight, but hopefully a scenic one. Thought we'd fly from San Francisco to Las Vegas. Uh, and I thought I'd take you from scratch so you could witness some of the behind the scenes action before we actually get into the aircraft. So I'm going to go into my SimToolKitPro uh, Sim Pro. What the heck is it called? SimToolKitPro for the flight planning. Here we go. We'll choose IFR flight plan. New one. And we'll depart KSFO. And arrive KLAS. We'll choose our 787. I only have one of them. We'll call ourselves flight number 43. And we will let SimBrief worry about the particulars of load and fuel. Meanwhile, we'll go ahead and fire up the simulator. There's our routing. Looks pretty reasonable. Did we lose our simulator? Let's... guess it didn't take. And the advantage of using SimToolKitPro instead of going directly to a SimBrief, which I used to do. I just used to use SimBrief directly, but now I access SimBrief through SimToolKitPro, and it gives me my status bar that I can use during the stream. So hopefully, shortly after we get established, you'll have that status bar to monitor the progress of our flight. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of liveries for the 787, so it won't look like a Delta aircraft. And I think I'm going to use the default air traffic control today. I'm not hating it as much as I have in the past. I don't know if that's good or bad, but the good news is I'm using live traffic, and if there happen to be other human players in the area, or human, or even artificial intelligence aircraft, it will air traffic control will recognize them. Will give us something other than the KLM livery. Let's see. How about the Aviators Club? Well, just the Boeing default. Boeing default. And our flight plan says Delta, so we'll have air traffic control use Delta as well. And we are a heavy, so we'll put the heavy on. Oops, got to spell Delta correctly. Looks like we do have some live and AI traffic. Not sure if any of these are actual gates. Here we go. We have, these are marked as gates. I think this is a default aircraft, but hopefully it's a handcrafted default aircraft. So B9. Gate small. We probably need something bigger than a, how about B13 is a heavy gate. Yeah, B13 is a heavy gate. Live weather, live time, live traffic, all players. And we will fly with that. Folks who've flown with me before know that I enjoy my ground handling through a program by a company called A320 Crew, and the program is called Pushback Express. Handles the vital pushback and also allows me to control some of the ground elements. Unfortunately, I don't have a virtual crew on this flight. Just a little while longer. Let's take a look around. The iconic San Francisco control towers. Well, I grew up in the Pacific Northwest, so by my standards, this place looks awful brown. But it's very nice in a California kind of way. Thanks to TrackIR, I can pan around and take a good look. Let's attach the jet bridge. I'm sure in real life you'd be pulled up to a gate with double jet bridges. You'd load forward cabin and mid cabin at the same time. All things being equal, if you only had one jet bridge, it'd be more convenient to load mid cabin. Use the mid cabin door, just because this plane does seat so many folks. It can take well over half an hour to board everyone. We talked about this last time. This airplane is not really conducive to individual luggage. I'm sure in real life it uses more of a palletized load. You would put the luggage on pallets and then load the pallets, as well as the other cargo. And mail, of course. You know, because most of the legacy carriers started out as mail carriers, mail is never considered as cargo. There's actually 3 categories of transportation: passengers, cargo, and the mail. Mail is never considered as cargo. It's always just considered as mail. Back in the day, you'd pay extra for air mail. A little hidden secret in aviation is that today most mail travels by commercial airline, even though it's not marked or charged as such. Let's climb aboard. There's our first officer. Hopefully she's already done her outside walk around. Trying to get the forward overhead. There we go. There's the forward overhead. External power. Looks like we have it. Battery on. AC buses are on. Utility passenger areas are on. Passenger seat belts to on. Nav light on. Logo light on. Align the left and right IRSs. Looks like they're already aligned or aligning. Window heat on. Don't need fuel quite yet. I want to leave the hydraulics off right now. Turn this taxi light off. These runway turn off lights off, strobe lights off. Let's go to the flight management computer. We have a 787-10, next generation engines, an active AIRAC cycle. We'll go to our position initialization screen. Our reference airport today is KSFO forgot our gate number. Where are we at? I think we're at S13. Is that correct where we are, if I remember correctly? Use our GPS position as the most accurate. KSFO to KLAS. Flight number 43. Next page. Let's get a routing. This okay, this is something's going on with this. Why does this say K Ontario? Why is this Ontario Airport? What? Routes, okay. SFO runway run right. What is this right here? What are we looking at here? Alternate route 2. Okay. Routing. SFO runway 1 right off of the Westla 4 departure. Intel Fletcher. Oh, Intel Q174 Fletcher. And then the Portland 1 arrival. So let's put in Intel. NTELL. And then Q174. Actually, let's put in the next waypoint and let's see if Q174 comes up. Fletcher, FLCHR. Let's see if the system is smart enough to know that that is part of an airway. No, it didn't do that. Okay, so we'll put in the Q174. As the airway. Didn't like it, doesn't like it. Okay, is there a way to clear this out? How do I clear this puppy out? Oops. I don't see a delete button. There's got to be a delete. Q174. Oops. Already in there. Maybe that's the trick, is to push clear. Delete. Fletcher. Delete. 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 Okay. 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 So let's do this. Let's go to Intel. It's just not liking that. I've heard people cursing at this system already, but I didn't know it would start this soon. Okay, well, let's go to the main menu. See if we can't reset. B13. Here we are at B13. Let's get that jet bridge reattached. We'll get the baggage started and climb aboard. I'm being just a little quick because, of course, we've been here before. I want that front. There we go. Okay, external power on and on. Battery on. External power. Nav light on, logo light on. IRS systems aligning. Position initialization. We are at KSFO. We're at gate number B13. We'll take our GPS heading for our IRS system. Our routing is KSFO to KLAS. We are indeed flight number 43. Next page. Our first waypoint is Intel, November Tango Echo Lima Lima. And then we're using an airway. I'd love it if you could use the airway, which is Q174. Quebec 174. Yes! That's the trick. You can't let the software figure it out. To Fletcher, FLCHR. FLCHR. And you can't make a mistake. It won't let you correct a mistake. Okay, and next is the Cortel 1 arrival to 1 right. So we're on 1 right at both airports. Departure arrival. Depart 1 right on the Westla 4, West LA 4, is that what that's supposed to stand for, maybe? We don't have a Westla 4. Westla 4. Okay. Well, 1 right's not going to be an offshore. Let's just use SFO4, which is basically vectors. That'll be fine. And I'm not going to fill in the arrival information until we get closer. Let's execute that. Look at the legs. That's fine. Let's go and into our performance. 2.2 on the reserves. Cost index of 85. Nice long runways here, 10%. Climb 1 seems okay. 20 degrees Celsius for an outside temperature. That's a little on the warm side. Takeoff. Flaps 10. And we can let the computer determine our V speeds. And we are set. Flight director's on. Lateral navigation on. And let's see if we can get a clearance. Any such thing as an ATIS around here? I guess not.
San Francisco ground Delta 43 Heavy IFR to Las Vegas, ready to copy.
Delta 43 Heavy is cleared to Las Vegas Airport as filed. Takeoff runway 19 left climb and maintain 7,000 feet. Departure frequency is 135.1 squawk 0142.
Delta 43 Heavy cleared to Las Vegas Airport as filed. Takeoff runway 19 left climb and maintain 7,000 feet. Departure on 135.1 squawk 0142.
Delta 43 Heavy reads back correct. Contact ground on 121.8.
Transponder. We were given the code of
Unknown caller.
0142. That is what we have in the squawk. So that's fine.
Cockpit to ground.
Go ahead, flight deck.
We will be ready shortly.
Okay, I will hold.
Cockpit to ground.
Go ahead, flight deck.
Confirm all ground checks complete. We're cleared to pressurize the hydraulics.
All ground checks are complete and you're clear to pressurize the hydraulics.
Great, let's fire up the APU. My goodness, there we go. Turn the beacon on. APU on. APU start. There's APU. Don't really know when it's providing power. Exhaust gas temperature keeps climbing, but I don't know when it's ready. Okay, well, we're off of external power. So I guess that must mean we're ready. Let's go ahead and get that tow. I would usually call for clearance, but with the default air traffic control, you really can't do that. San Francisco ground, Delta 4 tree, request pushback and engine start. Delta 4 tree, San Francisco ground, pushback and engine start approved.
Cockpit to ground.
Go ahead, flight deck.
We are ready for pushback and engine start.
Roger. Release the parking brakes, please.
Parking brakes released.
Push him back.
There goes the jet bridge. We got one wing walker. Why does the guy on the baggage conveyor get out and walk the other wing? Either that or the guy towing the baggage cart. You have to figure they're multi-talented,
You are clear behind and you can start your engines at your discretion.
Number 2, start. Oh, get some fuel pumps on here.
Pushback complete. Set parking brakes, please.
Parking brakes set.
Roger. Okay, the tow bar is disconnected and the equipment is clear. We will see on the left side with the pin.
Thanks, and you can disconnect and go to hand signals.
Thanks. Have a good flight. See you later.
We have 20% N2, fuel on number 2 engine. Let's go to number 1. start number 1. $14, $15, $17, $18, $19, and $20. 20% in 2, fuel on number 1. Runway 19 is our runway, which is over here, left and right.
San Francisco ground, Delta 4-3 Heavy ready to taxi IFR.
Delta 4-3 Heavy taxi to and hold short of runway 19 left using taxiway hotel cross runway 01 left hotel Golf Lima cross runway 28 left Lima cross runway 28 right Lima. Contact tower on 120.5 when ready.
Taxiing hold short runway 19 left via taxiway hotel cross runway 01 left hotel Golf Lima cross runway 28 left Lima cross runway 28 right Lima Delta 4-3 Heavy.
19 left is our destination. So taxi, cross, cross, taxi, cross, cross, and over here. I have an extended taxi, but we can do it. Let's do a flight control check, and let's go to flaps 10. There's flaps 5. There's flaps 10. Flight control. Elevator down. Elevator up, right aileron, left aileron, right rudder, left rudder, auto brake to rejected takeoff, speed brake armed, parking brake off. Oh, parking brake off. Let's get to where we need to go. little bit of a downhill grade here as we approach this first crossing. I know if I were using pilot to ATC, I would get a clearances to cross all these runways. Don't know what this little tug is doing out here on the taxiway. Didn't miss it by much. Here's 19 right. There's 19 left. I just noticed that my streaming banner is not active. I wonder why. I'll worry about it when we're in the air.
San Francisco Tower Delta 4-3 Heavy ready for IFR departure runway 19er left. Delta 4-3 Heavy cleared for takeoff runway 19er left. Cleared for takeoff runway 19er left Delta 4-3 Heavy.
Lights. Light, strobe light on. Christmas tree mode. Every light in the house. Auto throttle, flight director's on. Start the clock. %50 power. Toga button. Toga button actually came on before I commanded it. I think it was on the whole time. There's 100 knots. There's V1. And there's rotate. Positive rate. Gear up. Those hills are awful close. Flaps 5.
Delta 4 tree heavy contact departure on 135.1.
Flap 0. Increase airspeed to 250 knots.
Going to 135.1 Delta 4 tree heavy.
Autopilot. VNAV.
Departure Delta 4 tree heavy is at 3,500 feet, climbing 7,000 feet.
Delta 4 tree heavy departure. Continue as planned. QNH 29.902.
Departure Delta 4 tree heavy requesting vector to next waypoint.
Didn't mean to do that.
Delta 4 tree heavy turn right heading 015. Resume on navigation.
Turn right heading 015. Proceed on course Delta 4 tree heavy.
There's our target speed.
Delta 4 tree heavy climb and maintain 12,000 feet.
Climb and maintain 12,000 feet Delta 4 tree heavy.
Delta 4 tree heavy contact Oakland Center on 119.475.
119.475 for Delta 4 tree heavy. Oakland Center Delta 43 Heavy is climbing through 8,600 feet for 12,000 feet.
Delta 43 Heavy Oakland Center, continue as planned. QNH 29.92.
Oakland Center Delta 43 Heavy requesting vector to next
I
waypoint.
can't, I don't need vectors.
Delta 43 Heavy, turn right heading 015, resume on navigation. Delta 43 Heavy, please acknowledge.
Turn right heading 015, proceed on course Delta 43 Heavy.
After takeoff checklist, flaps up, landing gear up, 10,000 feet. Let's cut off some of these lights.
Generic Tree Whiskey Tango, you are 27 miles north. Descend and maintain 2,200 feet. Expect vectors visual runway 13 approach.
Fuel pumps are on, hydraulic pumps are on, electrical pumps are on. I don't know if we shut off the APU or not. I turned the APU off. Probably did
Climb
turn
and
the APU
maintain
off.
10,000 feet. Expect vectors. Visual runway
Lights
13
on.
approach. Generic 3 Whiskey Tango.
Turn Anna Ice to auto.
Oakland Center Delta 43 Heavy. Request 17,000 feet.
Delta 43 Heavy, climb and maintain 17,000 feet.
Climb and maintain 17,000 feet Delta 43 Heavy.
Delta 43 Heavy, contact Oakland Center on 127.8.
127.8 for Delta 43 Heavy. Oakland Center Delta 43 Heavy is climbing through 12,600 feet for 17,000 feet.
Delta 43 Heavy Oakland Center. Continue to Charlie Charlie Romeo as planned. QNH 29.92.
Oakland Center Delta 43 Heavy requesting vector to next
Don't need
waypoint.
vectors. Sorry about that.
Delta 43 Heavy, continue to Charlie Charlie Romeo turning and following heading 015 for zoom on navigation.
Thought I was just acknowledging. Sorry about that. It's all a process, right? It's all a process. Let's bring out the range a little bit. Actually, quite a lot.
Delta 43 Heavy, did you copy?
Up.
Continue to Charlie Charlie Romeo turning and following heading 015, resume on navigation Delta 43 Heavy.
Delta 43 Heavy, contact Oakland Center on 119.475.
Going to 119.475 Delta 43 Heavy. Oakland Center Delta 43 Heavy, 17,000 feet.
Delta 43 Heavy, Oakland Center, continue to Nell as planned. QNH 29.902.
Oakland Center Delta 43 Heavy. Request flight level 270.
Delta 43 Heavy, climb and maintain flight level 270.
Climb and maintain flight level 270 Delta 43 Heavy.
We're above 10,000 feet. Let's kick up our speed. Let's see what this baby will do. Maybe that's a little too aggressive. Let me see it. Not yet. Why are we getting... We should be able to get a little faster, though. Do we have flaps? Flaps are up, right? Speed brakes are up. There we go. We ought to be able to get a little aggressive with the speed. Just keep it below never exceed. There's 072.
Delta 43 Heavy, contact Oakland Center on 127.45.
127.45 Delta 43 Heavy. Oakland Center Delta 43 Heavy is at 17,800 feet, climbing flight level 270.
Delta 43 Heavy, Oakland Center, continue to Intel as planned. QNH 29.902.
Okay, Intel is our first waypoint to the airway, and those other 4 waypoints are part of the airway. And I've heard from other folks that this particular aircraft, if I put in the approach too early, I might lose some of those waypoints as part of our routing. So I'm going to wait until we're at Letcher before, and that's kind of real world as well. You know, you would get more than halfway along your way until you're sure of what runway or what approach you're assigned. So we'll enter that in after we're at lecture. Let me research our streamer bar. Wondering why we're not getting that. Well, I'm showing that it ought to be there. Is there a way to refresh this, perhaps? How do you might refresh this? That doesn't help much. Nope, that's not what I wanted. Here, this might do it. Oh, nope.
At 49er24, you are 55 miles southeast. Descend and maintain 4,500 feet. Expect ILS runway 30 approach via park transition. Cleared to park.
Descend and maintain 4,500 feet. Expect ILS runway 30 approach via PARBB transition. Clear to PARBB at 49er24.
Delta 4-3 Heavy contact Oakland Center on 126.85.
126.85 for Delta 4-3 Heavy. Oakland Center, Delta 4-3 Heavy flight level 270.
Delta 4-3 Heavy Oakland Center, continue to intel as planned.
My goodness, I can't believe I'm having trouble logging in here. Well, I'm just going to give up on it.
Delta 4-3 Heavy contact Oakland Center on 121.25.
121.25 Delta 4-3 Heavy. Oakland Center, Delta 4-3 Heavy flight level 270.
Delta 4-3 Heavy Oakland Center, continued until as planned.
Oakland Center, Delta 4-3 Heavy. Request flight level 310.
Delta 4-3 Heavy climb and maintain flight level 310.
Climb and maintain flight level 310 Delta 4-3 Heavy.
I think I know why I don't have a streaming bar, because I never put a approach into the flight management computer, so it can't calculate the phases of descent or arrival. It may not even know where I'm arriving. I think that's it. I'm not putting in the approach for fear of losing the waypoints that I have, but if I don't put it in approach, I don't have the streaming bar. So, no streaming bar it is. Maybe once I put in the approach, the streaming bar will miraculously appear. We can hope that would happen. Meanwhile, let's kick up our speed a little more. This puppy will go Mach 8.2, 0.82, won't it? 8.2 or 8.4? Heck, try 8.7. Fly it like you stole it, right? We're coming upon target altitude. Might as well turn the seatbelt sign off, let the good folks stretch a little bit. Actually, it was already off. Ha ha ha.
Oakland Center, generic November 289er Romeo Tango is at flight level 305, descending 10,000 feet.
Generic November 289er Romeo Tango, Oakland Center. Continue as planned. Delta 43 Heavy contact Oakland Center on 123.8.
One two three decimal 8 Delta 43 Heavy. Oakland Center Delta 43 Heavy flight level 310.
Delta 43 Heavy Oakland Center. Continued until as planned.
0.92. Wow, that's almost the sound barrier, folks. Don't dare go any faster than that. Might as well actually 0.91, just so we don't bust the never exceed with a bit of a gust. Once we make this turn here at Intel, we're going to have ourselves a genuine tailwind. It won't affect our speed through the air, but it will affect our ground speed. Nothing like getting to Las Vegas a little bit faster. Warm up those old slot machines a little bit. Here's Intel. And now we're on the airway. So just before we start our turn toward Fletcher, since Fletcher is on the same bearing as the previous waypoint, I'm going to take the chance, we might lose Fletcher, but I'm going to go ahead and put in our approach once we get to the waypoint just prior to Fletcher. And that way, I'm not sure exactly where our top-up descent point will be, but that should be far enough out so that the top of descent point will be ahead of us. Ground speed 538. Woo-wee! That tail from 225 and 3, that has to be 103. I'm guessing. It can't be just be 3 at this altitude. Especially not with a ground speed like that. We are smoking.
Delta 43 heavy contact Oakland Center on 125.75.
125.75 for Delta 43 heavy. Oakland Center Delta 43 heavy flight level 310.
Delta 43 heavy Oakland Center, continue to kebab as planned.
Just went into vertical navigation mode, which takes us off of our requested speed and puts us in our flight computer speed, which is based on that cost index number of 85. So we are slowing down a little bit. We still have our tailwind.
Delta 43 heavy, you are 300 feet below your assigned altitude.
Ooh.
Climb and maintain flight level 310.
Well, we don't. Yeah, that's. I did not realize we were also descending. I think that's because we might be beyond top of descent. Let's do something about that.
Delta 43 heavy, acknowledge last transmission.
Climb and maintain flight level 310 Delta 43 heavy. Oakland Center Delta 43 heavy. Request flight level 210.
Delta 43 heavy, descend and maintain flight level 210. Delta 43 heavy, did you copy?
Descend and maintain flight level 210 Delta 43 heavy.
.83 is a typical speed for a 737. Now we've been moving a lot faster. You know, it's amazing. It's counterintuitive, but it's also true of ships. Ships at sea and airplanes in the sky. You would think a bigger ship or a bigger airplane would go slower, but a larger vessel is usually able to carry more powerful engines, and their surface resistance is larger, but it's comparatively not as large compared to the amount of thrust they're able to provide. So often is true, bigger ships and bigger airplanes go faster. Doesn't sound like it should make sense, but it does. They get a slightly larger profile for a much larger ability to produce power, produce thrust. Okay, here comes Timson. And here comes Scan. Up, over speed. Get ourselves down. I know it's irritating, but it won't last long. Coming upon our target altitude.
Zero Mike Charlie traffic is 10 o'clock 4 miles at flight level 260 generic. Report them in sight. Generic 89er traffic is 1 o'clock 3 miles at flight level 270 generic. Report them in sight.
Remember, when I get to Scan, I'm going to pick an approach.
Generic, Zero Mike Charlie traffic alert. 8 o'clock less than 1 mile flight level 260 generic. Report them in sight.
Generic 89er tree has the traffic. Generic 0 Mike Charlie traffic in sight.
I live in Minnesota, and McCarran Airport in Las Vegas and Minneapolis International Airport have a couple of things in common. McCarran is on the east side of town. All the strip hotels are on the west. The terminal's on the east, and the entrance to the terminal is also on the eastern side. So every taxi cab and every Uber that comes out of the terminal has to depart to the east, circle themselves around the airport perimeter to access the strip hotels. Same thing in Minneapolis. All the terminal, the entrance is all on the south side, whereas downtown St. Paul and Minneapolis are to the north. Every cab, every Uber heads south out the exit around the perimeter road and circles the airport to get to Minneapolis or St. Paul, adding meter time or adding Uber time. And I'm not sure if this was a cabal or not. I'm not sure what the history is at McCarran, but you know, in Minneapolis, the north side of the airport is occupied by the National Guard, the Air Guard. The Guard doesn't care. You could put them on the south side, they wouldn't care. You could put the terminal on the north side and make getting to and from the terminal a lot cheaper and easier and faster. But that's not how it is. Next time you fly into McCarran, notice that all the strip hotels will be on the left, but the terminal and the exit to the terminal is on the right. Gotta keep that taxi meter and Uber fares a little bit higher. Okay, about to make the transition to our next waypoint. Scan, and when we get to scan, choose our approach. Miles. $10 miles. $8 miles. $6 miles. $4 miles. I'm also going to bring our speed down to 270 knots. Oops. let's get a good approach. Let's get a good approach. Okay. And what heading are we? What heading are we on? We're coming upon heading 117.
Delta 43 heavy contact Los Angeles Center on 124.625.
124.625 Delta 43 Heavy.
Okay, so let's choose ILS to 10 left. Oops. ILS to 10 left. Let's see what that did to us. There we go. We got a whole bunch of new waypoints. Beautiful. Let's move in our range a little bit. We're on our way to... Can't tell if we're on our way to Basic or to Fletcher. There's Basic and there's Fletcher. Hopefully we'll settle on Fletcher here in just a little bit. Goodness, the computer is quite confused. It keeps hopping back and forth between Basic and Fletcher. Let's see if I can move Fletcher to the front of the line. Oh. Oh. Oh, I think I moved Fletcher to the front of the line. I'm not sure. Yeah, all those waypoints are part of the new procedure. This is wonderful. Let's drop down to 17,000.
Following center waypoint 2781 is at flight level 34.
Los Angeles Center Delta 43 Heavy Flight Level 210.
Delta 43 Heavy Los Angeles Center continue to FLCHR as planned.
Los Angeles Center Delta 43 Heavy would like to change destination to Las Vegas.
Delta 4-3 Heavy is cleared to Las Vegas Airport as filed. Squawk 0142.
Delta 4-3 Heavy cleared to Las Vegas Airport as filed. Squawk 0142.
Delta 4-3 Heavy, read that correct. Radar contact flight level 210. Continue to FLCHR turning and following heading 195, descend and maintain 7,000 feet.
Continue to FLCHR turning and following heading 195, descend and maintain 7,000 feet. Delta 4-3 Heavy.
Well, my hope of picking up the stream banner was not realized. We now have our
Los Angeles Center, generic November 910 Mike Charlie is
IFR
out of
course
flight level 270 for
all
12,000
the way in, and we still don't have a stream banner.
Generic November 910 Mike Charlie, Los Angeles Center, continue as planned.
We're coming upon transition altitude. Funny, I never went to standard altitude to begin with. Oh well. The best laid plans. Here's the Cocktail 1 arrival. To runway 1 left right from Zilda on track 151 to Mesk 1, then 151 to Lumi, then on 118 to Zinpi, then 181 to Baum, 030 to Rome, and 030 expect radar vectors to final approach. So we have above flight level 210 at Ariel, between 190 and 160 at Cocktail, above 14,000 at Zilda, below 12,000 at Mezcal, above 10 at Zimpi, exactly 8,000 at Roman, and then we'll have our approach. ILS to runway 1 from Cocktail. Wonderful. Flight level 210 after T-brand.
Los Angeles Center, Delta 43 Heavy. Request 1,000 feet.
Oh, I don't request 1,000 feet.
Delta 43 Heavy request denied.
Yeah, I did not want request. I did not 1,000 feet. Who told you 1,000 feet? I'm sorry, I did that. I did not mean to do that. Well, it's flight level 210. We're already at 9,200 and descending, so we're a lot lower than the procedure asks for. We are cleared down to 7,000. May have been a mistake to descend that far. We'll find out. Gotta remember that this is the high desert. I could look at it very quickly, but offhand, I don't know what the altitude is in Las Vegas. I guess I could take a look at that. Elevation 2181. Coming upon target altitude. I'm happy with our tracking of the waypoints. I'm not so happy with our altitude. We might be a little low. Especially if we have to clear those hills before making this left turn hook maneuver. I say we have a cocktail when we get to Cocktail. By all rights, we should be below 250 knots at 7,000 feet, or at least at 250 knots, so let's reduce to 250. I'm surprised I haven't been admonished for that.
Delta 4 tree heavy climb and maintain 8,000 feet.
Climb and maintain 8,000 feet Delta 4 tree heavy.
Generic 0 Mike Charlie, you are 57 miles northwest. Descend and maintain 6,800 feet. Expect vectors visual runway 25 approach. Descend and maintain 6,800 feet. Expect vectors visual runway 25 approach. Generic 0 Mike Charlie.
Frequency is 110.1 and approach course is 014. Frequency is 110.1 and approach course is 014. 110.1, course is 014. And we'll turn it on. Why is it alternate nav radio? Where is the main nav radio? What am I missing? A radio function in here. Nav radio. Course. Okay, when we get to Zelda in 12 miles, I'm going to reduce to 210. I'm going to reduce to 210 now, actually, on the way to Zelda. Zelda will go first notch of flaps. Eight miles to Zelda. We have terrain. Wow, we do have terrain. I'm gonna leave it off. It's nice though, isn't it? That's beautiful. Weather? We might have weather too. Traffic. Three miles to Zelda.
Delta 43 heavy contact approach on 120.45.
120.45 for Delta 43 Heavy. Approach Delta 43 Heavy 8,000 feet.
Delta 43 Heavy approach continue to CLLDA as planned. QNH 29.92.
First notch of flaps. Down to 190. Flaps 2. Flaps 3.
Descend and maintain 7,000 feet. Expect ILS runway 1 left approach. By roll transition clear to roll tree 515.
Approach 4907 is out of 12,200 feet for 8,000 feet. 4907 approach continue to grading as planned. QNH 29.92.
Flaps 4. 180 on the speed.
3515, you are 14 miles southwest of Las Vegas. Contact Las Vegas Tower on 118.75 inbound on the approach.
Tower on 118.753, 515.
Four miles to Menskell. Mezcal. Ha ha ha. We have localizer. We don't have it captured, of course. We're getting it. One mile to Mesco. $170 on the speed. Gear down. Two miles to Lumi. Another notch of flaps. $160 on speed.
4907, you are 14 miles southwest of Las Vegas. Contact Las Vegas Tower on 118.75 when inbound.
Another notch of flaps.
Tower on 118.75, 4907.
5 miles to bomb. After bomb, we're expecting the localizer to come alive. Four miles to bomb. Another notch of flaps. Another notch of flaps. Speed down to 150.
Delta 4-3 Heavy, you are 25 miles southwest. Keep speed below 210 knots. Expect ILS runway 1 left approach by Rome transition. Clear to ROAMM.
Keep speed below 210 knots. Expect ILS runway 1 left approach via Rome transition. Cleared to Rome Delta 4-3 Heavy.
I don't think I'm on the transition he wants. Ha ha ha! Oh well. Three miles until our final approach course, final approach fix. We have the frequency. Localizer should be coming alive here if the signal is strong enough from out here. 1 mile. Up, glide slope is alive.
Descend and maintain 7,000 feet.
Arm the approach. Localizer is captured.
Delta 4-3 Heavy, acknowledge last transmission.
Descend and maintain 7,000 feet Delta 4-3 Heavy.
Field in sight. Question is, will we reach 7,000 first, or will we capture the glide slope first? Speed to 140. Final flaps, full flaps.
Delta 4-3 Heavy, descend and maintain 6,300 feet.
Descend and maintain 6,300 feet Delta 4-3 Heavy.
And again, will we capture glide slope first, or will we get down to 6,300 first? Really doesn't matter. Reference speed is 125. We're at 140. We have a tailwind, 3-knot tailwind. I'm comfortable coming in a little fast with the tailwind. Let's arm spoilers. Spoilers are armed. Let's go max
Delta 43
brakes.
Heavy, you are 14 miles southwest of Las Vegas. Contact Las Vegas Tower on 118.75 when inbound on the approach.
Tower on 118.75 Delta 43 Heavy.
So this is what I was referring to. You can see the strip and most of Las Vegas is on the left-hand side, but the terminal and an exit to the terminal is on the right. Every cab and every Uber drives around the airport, building that meter time. Let's see if we can arm the second autopilot. The second autopilot is armed.
$2,500.
We'll bring down to 135. Little compromise. Again, we've got a tailwind component, so we do want to be a little fast. Got some type of traffic ahead of us, and a little higher than us.
Las Vegas Tower Delta 43 Heavy 7 miles southwest inbound ILS runway 1 left approach.
Delta 43 Heavy Las Vegas Tower. Cleared ILS, runway 1 left approach. QNH 29.9 wind 212 at 5. Delta 43 Heavy cleared to land runway 1 left. Follow the aircraft on final. Wind 212 at 5.
Cleared to land runway 1 left Delta 43 Heavy.
$1,000.
We are in auto land configuration.
Foxjet 573, turn next taxiway. Delta 43, heavy go around.
I'm not going around.
200.
I didn't hear that. I'm sorry.
100.
Continue.
50. 40. 30. 20.
Foxjet
10.
573, exit runway when able. Delta 43, heavy please acknowledge.
Going around Delta 43 Heavy.
Oh, too late.
Foxjet 573, turn next taxiway. Delta 43 heavy contact approach on 120.45. Delta 43, heavy please acknowledge. Las Vegas Airport information line 22000. Wind 212 at 5. Visibility, tree. Sky condition, few clouds at 1,100 feet. Few clouds at 4,100 feet. Few clouds at 11,800 feet. Temperature, 20. 2.10. UNH, 29.902. ILS runway 1 left and visual runway 1 right in use. Landing and departing runway 1 left and runway 1 right. DSR aircraft, say direction of flight. All aircraft read back hold short instructions. Advise controller, on initial contact, you have mic.
Well, there is Las Vegas and all of its glory.
Las Vegas Airport information November 22000. Wind 212 at 5. Visibility, tree. Sky condition, few clouds at 1,100 feet. Few clouds at 4,100 feet. Few clouds at 11,800 feet. Temperature, 20. 2.10. UNH, 29.902. ILS runway 1 left and visual runway 1 right in use. Landing and departing runway 1 left and runway 1 right. DSR aircraft, say direction of flight.
Okay.
All aircraft read back hold short instructions.
Lights off.
Advise controller, on
APU
initial
on.
contact, you have November. Las Vegas Airport information November 22000. Wind 212 at 5. Visibility, tree. Sky condition, few clouds at 1,100 feet. Few clouds at 4,100 feet. Few clouds at 11,800 feet. Temperature, 20. 2.10. UNH, 29.902. ILS runway 1 left and visual runway 1 right in use. Landing and departing runway 1 left and runway 1 right. DSR aircraft, say direction of flight. All aircraft read back hold short instructions. Advise controller, on initial contact, you have November. Las Vegas Airport information November 22000. Wind 212 at 5. Visibility, tree. Sky condition, few clouds at 1,100 feet. Few clouds at 4,100 feet. Few clouds at 11,800 feet. Temperature, 20. 2.10. UNH, 29.902. ILS runway 1 left and visual runway 1 right in use.
Regent Airlines, but they've got quite a home here in Las Vegas, don't they? They're becoming the new Southwest, I think. Again, this is an airport that is not necessarily used to seeing wide bodies. Ask me which one of those markers is designated for a 787. I sure don't know. I'm imagining it'll be the very end one. As long as the jet bridge attaches, I'll be happy. How about this one, second to the end? Second to the end. There we go. That'll be good. Parking brake is on. Engine 2 off. Engine 1 off. Seatbelt sign off. Fuel pumps. I can't even. Off. 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 All these lights off. And let's see if that jet bridge indeed will attach. Yep, there it goes. Wonderful. That, my friends, is a successful flight. And the end of the stream. I wish you a good day.